The reason this grove is unique is the fact that we have so many sweetheart trees on one 20-acre site, which is really rare. We have approximately 1,170 of the sweetheart variety growing here on this site. This will produce many, many pounds down the road of very large and beautiful fruit. Yeah, the sweetheart tree is originally from Australia. All these trees, there were some trees brought up to Homestead, down to Homestead, and these trees were kept to be checked out and to see what they were going to do by the USDA down there. And during Hurricane Andrew, they all got blown and scattered out, and the people that owned them replanted their grove because their grove was literally destroyed in Hurricane Andrew. So what they did is they ended up with one in their grove, and they'd sold some trees to someone else, and they ended up with two in their grove. And in the late 90s, they began talking to each other about they had these trees with a certain fruit on them that was really different than the rest of the fruit. So what happened is they came up and they trademarked the Sweetheart brand is a trademark brand, and they trademarked the name, and that's where we came up with Sweethearts in Florida. And they all originated out of Homestead after Hurricane Andrew, and they're all out of the same trees. The lychee trees, they bloom typically in February, and they start putting out fruit around the middle of May, and it runs through basically by the end of June. You're done with the fruiting season on these lychees. It's only like about a 4-week season, so you have 4 weeks that you're going to get fresh fruit off these trees a year. That's it. You don't get any longer time period. The boosters we have are for cross-pollination, which is not necessary, but we put in a different variety to make a larger quantity of fruit grow on both varieties of the trees. These trees here are macadamia trees. This is of the H10 variety. And we have two different varieties planted. We have the Queen Anne's, and they're on a row furthest to the west, all the way down the property line on that row. These trees were planted last October, so they're not quite a year old yet, and they've grown significantly since that time, because when we put them in, they were a lot smaller than this one that's standing next to me. So what we're doing is we have to wait. Typically a macadamia is 5 years before you get any production off them. So we'll see what happens in 3 years on these. We're pushing them along pretty good. And we're using liquid fertigation, and monthly we're injecting miners into the system to make sure that everything's getting the proper amount of nutrients. We keep bees here year-round, as you can see. We have to keep an electric fence around them, a double electric fence, because we have bears in this area, and occasionally they have been known to get into our beehives. But we keep bees here. Bees are very important. Lychee trees must have bees to bloom, and we keep them here year-round. And usually we have many, many more that are here, but they're out at a different site right now. They're at a vegetable farm right now. So we keep this many here. And as you can see behind me, all these trees behind me are eucalyptus trees. They are windbreak trees. They were put in a year and a half ago because we were having big problems with the wind damaging our trees, the leaves on them. So we planted 460 eucalyptus windbreak trees on this site. It's completely surrounded with eucalyptus trees. They will get to a height of 40 to 50 feet in 5 years.